Hi, Cancer Sun and Rising. Welcome to your June 2024 Astro Update. It's Reina here, and June is the month where Cancer has their solar return, right? So whether your Sun in Cancer, your Ascendant is in Cancer, expect to feel more energized in late June into July as your Sun enters your sign and other personal planets. But as June begins, we still have this Gemini influence. The Sun is in that sign, and that means 12th house. So when the Sun is in the 12th house for the month before your solar return, what that means is that you're in hibernation. The 12th house is the house of, we could call it contemplation, solitude. And it can, because the first house is the house of the self and even the body, the 12th house, when the Sun is in the sign before you, you may feel less energized. And so as you enter June, you may be feeling like you want to spend more time alone and not necessarily as social. And on the 3rd of the month, Mercury goes into this sector. So Mercury is the mind, and it's also communication. So that really enhances this idea of maybe keeping to yourself. There's a dreamy quality of the 12th house. It's actually the house of the dream state. So the mind, you might be dreaming more than you normally are. You might be having past life recall, or, that you're just more psychic in general. And on the 6th, we have the new moon in this sector as well at 16 degrees of Gemini. It's the 6-6 portal, and I was looking for more information on that. I do believe that is connected to numerology, and the number 6 is connected to Venus, the planet Venus. And so I believe that this may, in particular, be manifesting abundance, but also your soulmate, especially since this is happening in your 12th house, which is the house of past lives, karma, and things of that nature. So it's really cool that the new moon is on this portal. And it can be anything that has to do with new beginnings related to spirituality. So it could even be if you attend a new meditation center, or you start to meditate, or you have some kind of group that you join that has a spiritual connotation to it. So anything along those lines can really be in alignment with this particular energy. On the 9th, Mars goes into Taurus, which is a friendly angle to you called a sextile. And this is your 11th house, which is the house of friendships and groups. So this can be very active. Actually, Mars is kind of a combative or rebellious energy. So the kind of group activities that you may be engaging in may have something to do with activism. This is a house of humanitarianism. And so I would even say political activism could be, I call this the house of social justice. So you could be the social justice warrior poster child. I actually think that a lot of Cancer people do find themselves politically motivated. I don't know if you would agree with me or not, but it seems to me that that's the case, because there is a strong interest in other people You have a caring spirit, and you're also a cardinal sign. So you do like to act on your beliefs, if you will. Be careful about any kind of conflicts with friends or a group that you do belong to. And what else can this be? Well, I think that's really all I wanted to say about that. You might just be more socially active at this time, perhaps. On the 17th, both Venus and Mercury go into your sign, which I think is pretty cool that they're happening on the same day. And so Venus in your first house makes you attractive. Now, what do we say when we say attractive? We think of good looking, right? But think about it in terms of magnetism, attracting, like the law of attraction. So Venus can even be about money. It can be about favor, being favored. It can be that you come across, because this is going to be your first house, as pleasing to others. Mercury here is finding your voice because it is going to be in your sign. So there's an alignment between how you present yourself or promote yourself and the sign that Mercury is in. So it really does help you to communicate in a way that's consistent with who you are. On the 20th, the sun goes into Cancer, which is also known as the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, or the winter solstice down under in the southern hemisphere. So definitely a powerful time. I was looking at what time of the day it's going to be. I live in the Midwest, so I believe it's going to happen after 4 p.m., something like that. And I think that England is about 6 hours ahead of me. So I was thinking, is it Glastonbury? There's like some kind of, or maybe Stonehenge, I don't know, where people gather at the summer solstice in England. That's going to be a perfect time because it's going to be, late at night, but not like super duper late, but after 10 p.m. So that should be really cool for those of you who live in the UK. But for people who are in Australia and New Zealand and places that are in the southern hemisphere where it's, I don't know, it's 16 hours ahead of me, then the solstice will be on the 21st for you. But the very next day, we have a full moon at 1 degree of Capricorn. And so that's on the 21st. And Capricorn is the opposite sign of Cancer. That's what full moons are all about, are oppositions. So Cancer, the sun will be at 1 degree of your sign as it opposes your 7th house. So this can speak to relationship issues. And, relationships are like probably about the last thing that a lot of Cancers want to talk about, or a fair number of them, because you've really gone through the ringer with Pluto being in your 7th house. And so a full moon just adds more awareness to anything that needs to come out. You will have one more stint of Pluto in that 7th house, by the way, when it retrogrades back into Capricorn, I believe in September, just for a couple of months, and then gone for good in our lifetimes. But in any case, this full moon in Capricorn, even though it's a very early degree, if we look at it just by the sign itself, it might be some kind of repeat of what that Pluto transit has been like. And maybe it's kind of bringing up to the surface things that you still have not learned, that you still need to learn. So, an example would be, let's say that you have had trouble with infidelity in your relationship with a significant other. I'm not talking about on your part necessarily, but on their part. And you forgave them, and they said, yeah, I've been doing it, but I've quit. Or maybe they have an addiction and they said that they quit. You may find out that it never really ended. And what that brings up is, how do you trust somebody that lies to you? Or can you trust somebody that lies to you? I'm just pulling that out of my butt, really. I'm not saying that that's going to happen for everyone, but I'm just giving an example of how the full moon can bring things to light and to awareness. On the 29th, we're going to have Saturn retrograding, 19 degrees of Pisces. Pisces for Cancer is your 9th house. So Saturn retrograding in your 9th house can be very interesting because it can speak to anyone who has been working on something 9th house related. So, and Saturn rules the 10th house of career, so it might be some theme of the 9th house that you wanted to make into a career. So one of the first go-tos for me is being a yoga teacher. I always use that example, especially nowadays, because the 9th house can be foreign travel, and it seems like a lot of yoga teachers love to kind of teach in exotic locales, probably so that they can, have a permanent vacation, if you will. And for some people, this could have, the 9th house can be academia, and something may be thwarting that. So if you have been ambitious with getting a degree, or maybe trying to get your tenure, if you are like an adjunct professor or something, and you feel like you want to become like a permanent professor, that might be something that is, you've really been working hard to make happen. Whatever this means for you, it might even be some kind of spiritual discipline. Whatever is going on, a retrograde is a time to go within. So rather than focusing on the outer goal, you're looking inside, and sometimes it's soul searching. Is this really what I want? Is this really the right path for me? Am I going about it in the right way? Saturn's very disciplined, and you may feel like you're losing some of that discipline. But understand that even if that were the case, if you kind of fell out of a routine that you'd gotten into, that it can be good in a sense, because you can see how your life is without that thing. So if you have this yoga routine, and maybe you're also studying to be a yoga teacher, and you just kind of, for whatever reason, fall out of it, you might realize, wow, I really miss this. I really feel like my life is going downhill without yoga in my life. And so you get back on track. But the greatest part about it is that you're not doing it out of a sense of duty. You're doing it because you really feel like this is the right thing for you, and that it gives you some kind of structure. Saturn can be about structure, and so on and so forth. Likewise, with academia, you might find that it's not meant for you. Maybe you've been going And it doesn't have to be like undergrad, it could be graduate school. Maybe you thought that this was the answer to improve your life, and you realize that it really isn't the path for you. But you had to go through that inner work to get to that place. When Saturn goes direct, whenever that is, probably towards the end of this year, you'll have more clarity to be able to make that decision coming from a more well-informed place. So that's what I have for you, Cancer. I hope that this resonated. And if you would like a private reading, I am promoting my double astrology readings. I sell these readings separately. They're at least an hour long each. The package deal is called my deep dive reading, which is an hour of natal chart analysis with an hour of transits for the upcoming 12 months. So it doesn't matter when somebody orders a reading, it's going to always be the next 12 months. But this is a time when you're having your solar return when, you know, it can be great to look at the upcoming year and see what kind of things are on the horizon. And I urge people always to look at the bigger picture, not to get too caught up in details, even though I do give them. I really think the natal chart is the key because it's something that you don't have to wait for a transit. You can work on yourself at any time. And being able to see patterns is very helpful. Sometimes they're so deeply ingrained that we don't even know that they're patterns. We just think that they're life. And we don't realize life can be different. So that if when you buy those readings together, you save versus buying them individually, and they do naturally go together, and that's called my deep dive reading. I think I'll link it below, but I have all kinds of readings like life path, career readings, love readings, tarot readings. So you can find out more information at the link below. Thank you for listening and have a great month. Bye.